Welcome back to JB Reviews. I have two 2024 dualies. This is the GMC Sierra. This is the Ram 3500. I borrowed these trucks from Jerry Seiner, Buick GMC here in South Jordan, Utah, and Larry H. Miller, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Sandy, Utah. Be sure to check out their inventory. These trucks are available at this time. So if you would like to get a dually, well, you got two nice ones sitting right here. If you're not familiar, this Denali and this Laramie do compete with each other in the marketplace, and I want to show you guys the pricing online of these two trucks, but in reality they're pretty much optioned very differently. Like this truck has the night edition and that's not even available for a Denali, so let's kind of go through the pricing and then we'll iron out some of the features that you get with these pickups. Now here is the base price of a GMC Sierra 3500. And be sure to pause it, but here's all the options that were added to this truck. So it has a total MSRP of $93,075. Now as far as the Ram goes, here is the total option list here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see, but down below here has a ton of options. Very expensive options, by the way, and then it continues on this side. So base price is $70,460. That does not include the dual rear wheels like the Sierra 3500, however. But when you add it all together, this truck is about $3,000 more. So it's not as bad as I thought it was, because if you took off the night edition, this truck was actually a little bit cheaper. But if you go on to GMT's website at Jerry Seiner, you guys can see here, this is the total MSRP, but they have the price basically at MSRP. However, on the Ram side of the house, you guys can see $96,000 was the MSRP, and they have the price down to $86,600. So just keep that in mind. Now, when you're looking at a Denali trim, a lot of things do come standard. For example, painted lower bumpers, parking sensors, and this truck does have a forward-facing camera. Across the board with the Sierra HDs is you get LED headlights and fog lights, pretty much standard. I think on the work truck models they don't have fog lights, and maybe the SLE you have to opt for them. But a lot of chrome on the front end, including the recovery hooks down below. As far as the Ram goes, I do know that they added painted bumpers as standard equipment. However, LED headlights are an option on Laramie. Now obviously if you get it in the night edition, it kind of forces you to get the LED headlights, which is a good thing. But yeah, the turn signals are incandescent bulbs. You do have the black recovery hooks, and you still have the parking sensors. One thing I like about the Ram is they do hide those parking sensors up front, as opposed to what GM does. They kind of put them on the bumper, and it just looks more cleaner. You have to admit, having the blackout on the truck really does just go extremely well. And here is the hood. When you get the night edition, you get this Sport Performance hood, so just keep that in mind. It does have a fixed hood scoop compared to the GMs, which is actually functional. But you do have the heat extractors on the side here. And I think the biggest takeaway with the night edition is the wheels. They give you this blackout wheel, and it has a machine finish around the holes on it, and it's just done perfectly. Solid front axle. I think this truck is definitely a winner for most buyers. But you gotta admit though, this Denali is super nice. For 2024, they added these 18-inch wheels, and listen, I haven't even gone over the tires yet on that Ram, so hold on one second. So this truck has 18s, the biggest wheel for the dually in this segment, Michelin tires, and these tires ride extremely well, and they get really good fuel economy. If I have a chance, maybe I'll do a fuel economy run with these two trucks. But you do have an independent front suspension, which a lot of guys don't really care for, although I found no issues with it. I actually liked it. And this tire size is right here, LT 235/80/18, and then here's some of the capacities for the tire. 3,195 pounds for single, and then 2,910 pounds for dual 80 psi. Let's check out the Ram. The Ram has LT 235/80/17, and then here are the capacities. These are 3,085 pounds for single, and then 2,835 pounds for dual 80 psi. But this is a Nexen tire. Nexen tires, I'm not going to say that they're a bad tire, but if you had to choose between Nexen tires and Michelin's, I think 10 times out of 10 everyone's going to choose the Michelin. With this night edition, you do get painted door handles. You see that there is no running boards on this truck, so just keep that in mind. There is clearance lights on the side of the dually bed. I'm not a huge fan of Ram's dually beds. I think they look very bland, and they definitely need to step their game up on this truck. But you know what? It does get better for the Ram. 50-gallon fuel tank option. If you're getting a long bed truck from Ram, you have that option. And if you're getting a dually, I don't know why you would not click that option. 5.7-gallon DEF tank. And I think Ram has the most overbuilt suspension, because not only do you have 5 leafs in the main pack and 2 overloads, also you have a leaf down here. I can't remember what that's for, I always forget. But when you think about Ram, you also have the option to get air suspension. That does help this truck ride a lot better compared to this more stiffer setup here. Let's go back over to the GMC. So the GMC does have fixed running boards, standard, and you guys can pretty much tell there's a lot of chrome on this truck around the windows, door handles, and the mirrors. Also, I just like the dually bed a lot better too. I think it just has a better design compared to what Ram is doing here. And the fender flares help, and I don't know why they took them off of the Laramie, but unfortunately you cannot get a larger fuel tank even with the dually GMC. So 36-gallon fuel tank, but you do have a larger DEF tank, 7 gallons, so you can go a little bit further on DEF, especially if you're towing. They do provide these steps on the side of the bed, not available for the Ram. And the clearance lights on the side of the dually bed are right there. They also give you these lights too. And this is a pretty nice suspension. So you have 4 leafs in that main pack right there, and they give you 3 overloads. So they do kind of change it up compared to the single rear wheels. But I just think that Ram is just a better setup here. I mean, even looking at the frame, I mean, look at that frame on the Ram. Like, my goodness, that thing is a lot more beefy compared to what GM does. Now, really quickly, you do have this multi-pro tailgate. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think most people would like this, especially if they use their truck often, because it does provide a step out back, right? And they give you that handle. Fifth wheel prep package is an option. You have the 4 and 7 pin. They do give you 2 camera views up there, one's for the rear view mirror, and one's for the bed view. The Ram does not have a step. It is available on this truck, and it would be on the side, but you still have an assisted tailgate. They both have class 5 receiving hitches. Spray and bed liner is going to be available on both trucks. Now, this truck does not have the bed lights in the bed, by the way. I didn't notice that when I did the last video. Fifth wheel prep package right there. They also provide the 7 and 4 pin. 400 watts in the bed for both trucks too. Let's talk about the gearing out back. I think that GM has done a good job with their trucks overall. If you haven't driven one of these, this is a 342, right? And most people would say that's too high of a gear for a truck like this, but the 10-speed transmission, which we'll go over here in a second, is why they gear this as a 342. You cannot get any lower gearing on this truck. I wish they would offer the 373 at least for the dualies, not for extra towing capacity, but it would just be nice to see some other options for people who might want to run bigger tires. But this is where Ram shines. You guys saw the window sticker that this had the 410, which is an option, right? But you can get a 373 standard. Now, obviously, this is still using a 6-speed transmission. I feel as though I like having options, especially with a truck this big. I would like to have a 410 or a 373 option if I had it available. But here are the brakes out back. Hopefully you guys can see. It's a little dark, but we can do what we can do with the light, right? And let's see if we can see them on the GMC. So about the same size, I would say. Pretty big brakes on both sides of the house. So in this part of the video, this is where all the fanboys come out and play. I don't know if there's truly a clear winner, and I keep redoing this part of the video because I keep laughing. And I don't know why I'm laughing. Well, I know why I'm laughing, but I just know what's going to happen in the comment section when I do this video. Like, I know that people want me to choose a side. Let me just say this really quickly. I can't stop laughing. Okay, hold on. Alright, serious now. We gotta be serious.
I don't care who has a better truck. I just like trucks. So if you think I'm a fanboy, that's on you. I'm not a fanboy. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not a fanboy. But here we go. Here we go. These are my favorite trucks, by the way, too. Too bad I don't have a Ford here. But nevertheless, come on, guys. Who doesn't like the Duramax? This is the 6.6 liter. And for 2024, they brought their A game. They not only increased the horsepower and torque, but they also updated the turbocharger and the combustion, which helped with that power gain. And one thing I like about this powertrain is they do use Denso fuel pump and injectors. It's the Denso HP4 fuel pump. And Denso is a really reliable company. Toyota actually uses them. They might even own Denso. I'm not 100% sure about that, but nevertheless, it's a good company. And 470 horsepower, 975 pound-feet of torque is nothing to scoff at. I mean, that is great performance. And I've said this a million times. This truck has no torque management. I hope I have a chance to do a test on the road with MPG and acceleration. So hopefully we have a chance to do that. But here we go. I'm laying it all out there. This is a true diesel in my opinion. I think an inline six, straight six, whatever you want to call it, is the way to go. So this 6.7 liter is tried and true. It has 420 horsepower, which definitely is 50 behind that Duramax behind me. But you have to understand something. This is a inline six, so 1,050 pound-feet of torque. Now I did not mention this Duramax does have the 10-speed Allison, right? That transmission has really deep gears, first, second, and third. And this is a 10L 1000, I believe, transmission. This Ram has the Eisen. This is the AS69RC. It's a 6-speed transmission. I say this all the time. That transmission with this engine, they love to tow together. Like, that's why you buy this setup. The high output Cummins is a towing beast. And when you hook up a trailer to this truck, Ford doesn't do this, GM doesn't do this. This truck sounds different. Like, it literally opens up the power because there's torque management on this engine. I know there is. That truck does not have torque management whether you're unloaded or loaded up. And that's what I like about the GM better. But if you love to tow like I do, this is which one I would pick. Now that was tough to do. I mean, I love both these engines, but I really think that this is where GM's gonna pull away from the Ram. Like, I love Ram trucks. Like, you guys know I love their interiors. And here's where Ram wins. You have lights pretty much for backing up your trailer, right? And then they have these forward lights too. I like how easy they are to turn on. There's this specific buttons for them. Also, for 2024 and 2023 model year, you can now power extend the mirrors. You don't even have to hold the button. I always say you have to hold it, but you don't have to. Or if you want, you can kind of fine tune the mirrors where you want them to be at. Doesn't stop there. You can also control the convex down below. And do you guys see that? Those top and bottom mirrors are heated. They do power fold. These are the best mirrors in the business right now. But don't get it twisted. GM has always had these lights on the front of their mirrors. Also, they've always had these reverse lights. I want to say, what, 2015 or somewhere in there. It's been a long time since they've had these lights. But the problem with these mirrors are turning on the lights are a little cumbersome. Like, I own GMs and I still don't know how to do it. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Like, I think you hit this button here and that should, oh yeah, there you go. Then that should turn on those. So it does turn on these lights. But these lights probably come on with the other button here, which is this one, I believe. So disregard what I said. Okay, it's not that hard. I just like Rams better. I'm just being honest. If you want to put the mirrors in tow mode, there you go. Easy to do. But they're either out or in, so you can't fine tune them like the Ram. But the biggest letdown is you cannot control that convex, and only that top mirror is heated. That's the only drawbacks to these mirrors. That's it. But as far as the interior goes, I just think that the Denali is a better buy. Telescoping steering wheel. You also have two different drive modes. You have off-road and normal. This truck does have just a better overall design, I think, for the interior. You just get more for the money. Like, so ventilated seats are an option on that Ram. Also,
this wireless charger is an option on that Ram. And if you want a 6-passenger, you would have to go down to an SOT. That Laramie does come standard with a bench up front. You do have larger screens, 13.4 inch display, 12.3 inch display. This digital gauge cluster does come standard. Heads-up display, that's not available on the Ram. And I just think that if you're really looking at the cost of these trucks, this is the clear winner. I don't care what fanboy you are, you have to admit Ram trucks are very expensive. However, the only thing I will say about the Ram is if you are looking at the discount aspect, most people are going to be paying MSRP, maybe a few $1,000s less, maybe, for this GMC, whereas that Ram over here, that truck's 10 grand off minimum, and you can probably go even lower on the pricing than that. But here are the strengths for the Ram. The sound system is an Alpine, right? You can also get a Harman Kardon with this truck. That Alpine sound system is better than that GMC's, 100%, and the Harman Kardon only takes it to the next level. I also like the fact that you have a black roof for the Ram. That GMC has a lighter color roof. But here is the biggest slam dunk for the Ram. If you like to tow, like I do, I love the fact that you have this gauge cluster here. So you can get the digital gauge cluster, but you guys saw that just now. You have this, which is amazing. I love seeing all the temperatures. Also, the exhaust brake is way better than GMC's, although GMC has helped it to be a little bit better for 2024, but it's still very intermittent when it works. You have this. I like to know where I'm at for the DPF. 100%. Another win for Ram. You guys see all the USBs? You have 4 there. You have 1 here. And look at the storage you have. This also slides like this. You have a power plug right here. And there's just so much storage in this center console. I also like the fact that you have 2 stages for the exhaust brake too. So you have full exhaust brake, you have automatic exhaust brake. On that GMC, you only have on and off. That's it. Apart from that, everything else is just kind of circumstantial. I'm not going to really go over everything. But even in the rear here, you guys see this? 4 more USBs and another power plug. You only have 1 inside the interior on that GMC. But here's where the GMC wins for the interior. The size of the cab. The size of the cab is, it's not even a competition here. That crew cab Ram is tiny compared to this truck. You have outboard heated seats out back. That pretty much comes standard. I haven't seen a Denali without that, so yeah, that comes standard. But you don't have as many power plugs, as many USBs as you have in that Ram. But if I had to pick on size alone, yeah, the GMC wins 100%. Let's go ahead and go over the payload numbers and I'll pretty much end the video. The Ram has a gross axle weight rating up front at 6,000 pounds. And the rear is 9,750 pounds with a 14,000 pound gross fuel weight rating. And then payload on this truck is 5,225 pounds. The GMC has this trailer information, but before we go over the numbers up top, the gross axle weight rating is going to be the same, but you do have a higher gross axle weight rating in the rear. And that's class leading even over Ford's F450, 14,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. And you guys see right here, payload is 5,210 pounds. Now this truck does have a sunroof and it just has more options. So at the end of the day, I think this truck wins, because if you took off the sunroof and a few other things, I think this truck would probably have more payload. But you have all your towing numbers on the door. You do not get that on the Ram. So I do like what GM does here. And it doesn't matter which truck you go with, they're both phenomenal pickup trucks. But I think every truck has its purpose, and for GM trucks and Ram trucks, they're very different pickup trucks, guys. Like, I wish I could take a week
to go over these trucks, do some towing videos and everything, just to show you just how different these pickups are. But if I have a chance, I will put these trucks on the road, show you guys some acceleration. I have my Draggy actually charging right now, and then I'll show you guys some MPG. But be sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure your bell notification on so you don't miss that upload. See you guys soon.